Alright guys, I know I took not really a week off, but I actually cleaned up that side of the shop. So now I can pull the truck on and off the lift without having to worry about hitting a bunch of metal. So let's get into what I'm thinking I'm going to do this weekend. By the way, happy Father's Day to all the fathers. And happy Father's Day to all the mothers that are fathers. You never know. So anyway, on my fenders, the COE originally came with these rubber pads. Right there. I left the holes there because I planned on getting the rubber pads and putting them back on. But the rubber pads are they went up in price like a lot, so they're like $400, and they're pretty much the only kind of piece that's made reproduction, and they're really nice. I mean, they've got the metal frames and the rubber, they're OEM standard supposedly, but it's still like $400. So what I did do, let me show you. Okay, so I do still have the original metal frames, but as you can see, they're all rusted out. All the bolts are broken off because of the rust, but they go like that. So what I tried to do was I taped up the entire fender. I set this down. And then I took a black Sharpie and I traced it out so I know what the size was. So that's that piece. So we'll go like that. That's nice and all, but the problem is trying to get the rubber mat to actually conform because it's like two different shapes. You know, you have the one that goes this way, and then you have also the one that goes that way. So you're kind of fighting two things with a piece of rubber. So that's why they have the metal frames. They usually go up underneath. The rubber attaches to the metal frames, and then those get bolted to the fenders. So I did make a piece of rubber mat to match the ones down here. And that's right there. That's how it would go like that. But yeah, there's no way that I'm going to get that without building a metal frame for this to sit on, and then figuring out how to attach this to the metal frame, because this whole backing part, that's why I had to put the bolts in these pieces down here, because even though I use double-sided tape, the double-sided tape will just come off this. So hopefully third time's a charm. So I went and I got half-inch, because those holes are half-inch carriage bolts. So these will basically go down like that, and there's 12 on each side. I don't want to go back in and re-weld all those holes up. Yeah, I just don't want to do it. So I'm thinking that I might use like a Sem's Rocket bed liner. It's really thick stuff when you spray it out. It's the same stuff that I used on the bed, inside the bed, but the ones inside the bed was tintable, so I tinted it orange, the color of the truck, and then this would be, I have like 2 cans left in black. It would only take 1 can, not even a can to do it, but once you mix it up, it's kind of like done. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to mask that whole section off with the shape of what it should be. Then I'm going to put the bed liner on the fender. It'll be black, so it'll match somewhat of the standards. And then I'll put the carrier bolts in all the holes. That way it'll appear to be the original pad, and the bolts will fill the holes, but overall it'll still give you the protection that it once did back in the day when they used to have those rubber guards up there. Yep. So in a nutshell, that's what I'm going to try to work on. I'm going to be here. I got to open up those holes a little bit for the carriage part of the carrier hole, and so that's what we're going to get into. So I have to tape off the whole sides of the truck in order to do that, because of the fact that once you start spraying that stuff, it has a tendency to go all over. Because you know you're spraying at a high pressure to your Schiltz gun, and you're just kind of like aiming it and going, hey, here we go. My garage floor over on that side where I did this bed, even though I had cardboard down, is still I still got it on the floor, and it's textured, it's rough, you know, that kind of deal. So let me get that, and I've been thinking about how I'm going to do this pretty much for the last month and a half, and this is the best idea that I could come up with. Once I did the whole pad thing and the whole shape and start lifting on the edges, and I don't want that. So without further ado, let's get into taping this off, sanding it down, and then shoot the stuff on there, and we'll see how that looks. Whether it looks good or bad, it's going to look good, because once I do it, that's it. I'm not going to sit there and scrape it off, because this stuff it's pretty bad. Like, I mean, it's made with bezel layers. So when it attaches, and you know, the texture or whatever. Don't get me wrong, you can take it off if you don't like it. But if I don't like it and I take it off, then I'm just going to weld the holes anyway, because the fender's going to be all jacked up. But anyway, so let's get to working on that, and then we'll be right back. Now do that on the other side. Be right back. So we got both sides masked up. So the key with this stuff is put more masking paper, tape, whatever, the more the better. And as soon as you spray it, once you get it all sprayed, then you should untape it right then and there, because sometimes the edge of the tape right here, if you wait for it to dry and you peel it back, sometimes it'll cut into it, like not in a good way, and then you'll have to sit there, because it's so thick, you have to sit there with a razor blade and cut it and then peel it off. So I try to make everything so I can just peel it off. You'll see as I get going. And I got the driver's side all set up. So let me mix up this stuff, and we'll start shooting it. So I'm going to get after this with some 80 grit, just really rough the crap out of it, so it'll give this product adhesion, like really good adhesion. I do a lot of bed liners at work, and that's what we use that. And this stuff I'll show you in a minute is incredible stuff. I highly recommend it for any kind of bed liner stuff. So let me do this. Alright guys, so here's the product. It's called Sem's Rocket. So you mix this up. So they give you a cups and ratios. They always give you a new, they call it a Schultze gun. So how I mix it up, first you gotta shake it. I've already been shaking this up because it's been sitting for probably, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. So it's right about there is where the fluid is right about there. So I just take the catalyst and I fill it up to about there, and that's the mix. But basically it's like a 3 to 1, I think is what the instructions is. I don't know. That's how I mix it, because that's about where it's right. And I just take it and I shake that all up. So we are catalyzed. Put this on. Hopefully it'll tighten up. Yep. And there we go. So I blew it off. I used acetone to wipe it all down. Make sure you wear gloves. Definitely wear a mask because this stuff smells really bad. So let me get my mask on, and then we'll just start spraying it. So if you've never sprayed this before, you can get like a cardboard box and just kind of a couple passes just to kind of get the feel for how it sprays. It's just a tip there for you. So let me hook this up. So we'll let that sit up for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back and put on another coat. Let that wait for 10 minutes, and then I'll put one more on, because I have plenty of material in that jug. That whole jug could probably do the bed of this truck, you know, so that's a lot. 4-liter kit on Amazon. It's last time when I bought this, it was $150, and it comes with a gun. So you can't really beat that at all. So what we'll do is we'll let that set up, and then I'll keep spraying it 3 more times, and then we'll come back and we'll untape it, and I'll show you how it looks. Coat number 3. So there's 3 coats. So it was up to here. So it was up to here. Now it's about to there. So yeah, about half. With bed liners, you usually do 2 coats, but I want this pretty thick. That's why I did a 3rd. So we'll let that set up for a little bit, and then we'll start untaping it. because you want to untape it when it's still fresh, so you don't have to, because it creates such a high build across that tape that sometimes if you let it sit overnight or whatever, you'll have to take a razor blade and try to cut around it to get it free from the tape. So yeah, so let's give it a little bit, and then we will make sure you're wearing gloves when you take it on, untape it, because that stuff will still be sticky. And also remember how you taped it, so you can untape it sort of the same way. So that way it'll be a lot easier to untape. So yeah, we'll be back. All right, guys. So it's been about 10-15 minutes. I will put on some gloves. And I say to put on gloves because it does get sticky when it's still a little tacky. I always keep a rag and some acetone next to me, just in case when you peel it off, maybe a piece of tape hits the vehicle or whatever. You can just wipe it real quick. It takes about 24 hours, and it takes about a day to really harden up, and then it's good to go. So let's start untaping it all, and then I'll show you the thickness, the middle thickness. I'm expecting probably between 3 and 5 mils of thickness. So it's not like uber thick, but it's thick enough for what I want it to be. So let's start untaping it, and we'll see how we did. I'll do the other side, and then we'll zoom in and see how thick it is. Be right back. So you can see it's got a pretty good thickness on it. And like I said, all these holes will have bolts in it, so it'll look like it's a pad. Some will hate it, some will like it. You know what? I like how it looks more factory with that piece. So let me show you the other side. And there's the other side. The door's not shut, but yeah. So there it is. And it goes all the way down to there. Yep. Same with the thickness. I like it. Like I said, some will, some won't, and that's okay. Saves me $400 in the end. And as you saw, I just used a little bit of acetone there at the end. I had to use my fingernail to get the tape off right there. So a little bit of acetone, cleans your hands right up. So that was a pretty quick mod. Like I said, I've been thinking a couple months on how to do that. And that was the best idea that I could come up with without having to spend, like I said, the money for those rubber pieces. So I got to let that sit for a while. Like I said, overnight's best before I put the bolts in there. So we'll come. I want to start on a few other things, but I'm waiting for them. I did order last week a one-piece ABS headliner. I got the cardboard one, and with the bow And you know, honestly, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. So I did order the one piece. I was trying to get it off from this one site that he does a lot of things like LS Fabrications or whatever, but they don't have the one piece in stock. So I ended up getting it from Classic Truck Parts, and it worked out to be about 250 bucks with the shipping. It's a large piece, so I'm good with that. So hopefully I'll get that in tomorrow. It's supposed to FedEx, I don't know. So it should be in here tomorrow sometime. If it gets in early enough, we'll tackle mounting it up there, drilling the holes for the visors and rear view mirror. I have not seen anything on YouTube on how to install those properly. I've always seen the two-piece ones, and like I said, I do not like that cardboard stuff at all. In fact, it's laying over there on the ground. Lesson learned, I guess. I still have the original hoop that goes in the back, so I know I still need that. But I do have it. I just have to sand it up and paint it gunmetal. But I want to get that piece all mocked up. And then I want to use, I still have a bunch of the fabric that I used for the door panels and stuff like that. So I want to kind of cover it with that after I get it all mocked up. So if we get that going and it gets here early enough, I'll do that. Or that may possibly be on a separate install all by itself, so people can find it quicker, so to speak. So we'll go with that. So we will catch you in the morning and see what we're going to do from there. What up, guys? So it's the next day. I'm looking at these today, and I still like them, but I showed the wife. She looked at it and she's like, they look kind of fake. Just get the ones that you need to put on there. So I found them on Jim Carter Truck Parts. It was about 300 bucks actually, and then plus the shipping. So I ordered those. So once I get those in, I will put them on and see how much of this I went over. I don't think I did because I used the old pieces as templates. As long as the new ones are OEM, they should bolt right over them. So I guess this video, me showing you how to do the truck bed liner stuff and what I did, was more of just like how to use truck bed liner stuff, because I'm going to go with the OEM type ribbed ones, you know. So that's it. And then another surprise, because today is Father's Day. My wife said, hey, you're always fixing your daily driver, which is a 2010 Ford Transit with 220,000 miles on it. And so we went out and bought me a new truck, and here's the truck. So yep, happy Father's Day to me. Nissan Frontier 2023 SV, and it's 4x4. So that's the truck. Super excited about getting a daily driver with AC, and one I don't have to fix almost every other weekend because of little things, you know. And that truck, that Transit, needed a lot more work. I really liked the Transit, but did a little bit of an upgrade. And that truck can pull like, I think it was 100 pounds. So if I ever get a smaller car trailer and need to go pick up old trucks, my wife was like, just get something that you need or will use over the long haul. Because we're not the type of people that will just trade in a vehicle every year because, oh, I gotta have the newest thing. It's basically out of necessity when we do something like that. So that's why we got that, and I'm extremely happy with it. It only had 7 miles when I picked it up on Friday night, and today's Sunday, and I've already put 75 miles on it. I think the thing's awesome. Oh, here comes my girl. Tara. So that's my Terra girl. She comes out and hangs out. She likes laying on the concrete because it's cold. So, yep. So anyway, so that's where we're at. And then what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of a walk around the truck. There's been some questions about a few things. So I'm just gonna show you those little few things, and then I'm gonna show you the few things that I don't like about the truck, which is basically only one thing, and then we'll go from there. So we'll be right back. Okay, so I'm just going to show you a few things here. So I had some questions about the radiator and the hose setup. So this right here is just a lower hose that I found, basically the right size here and the right size here from the parts store. So I just went to the parts store and I measured out the hose, and that's what I needed for the lower one. And the upper one up here was just same deal. I went, figured out what the size was, the outside diameter of the radiator up there, and then the size here. And then these right here are just silicone coolant hoses that you would use on like a big rig. So they just kind of go all the way down. And then I have them supported with just like little sleeves and muffler clamps here and here. And they come down, and then back here off the block, I'm using S10 hoses. So this is the lower radiator hose that comes out, of course, and goes here. And then the upper one, the upper radiator hose up there is an S10 one, but I had to cut and add sleeves or like barbed fittings between them to get that loop. And then once I get up above, I'll show you that, right? And then these ones are my AC hoses. They just ran all the way down, up through, and they're all secured with those little insulator deals, little rubber clamps into the frame, and then go up to there. Here is the throttle cable. So it comes through, and then I have a spring on, like a return spring up here, and then this cable right here, actually the housing part is from like a ATV of some sort. I just needed the 90, or yeah, the 90 to come out here in order for it to go all the way back there, back to the engine in the back. So what I did was I used the actual housing of the cable, but inside the housing is the low car cable with the ends on it on both ends, right? So that's that, and then once then I'll get it back down on the ground, and then I'll show you the back part. Okay guys, when I bought the cable, I actually bought two just in case. So I have it right here. So this is the cable, and then that's what it is. So it's 121-inch go-kart throttle, Spider go-kart cable. Basically, I just needed this little guy right there in order for it to reach back. Since I got it up in the air, I'll show you my actuator right there, and that shifts the transmission. So this unit right here is the Dakota Digital gear shift indicator. So as this pulls, it puts it in the gears, and then this is what tells me what gear I'm in up front. And that's just a linear actuator. So, but once I raised up the transmission here an inch, I had to actually reconfigure this up higher. So I just took a bracket or a piece of, what is that, 3/16, and I just made the bracket up higher, and then I welded it in, and then moved this whole assembly up so that would have the correct swing, right? All right, let's put her back down on the, while I'm here. So this is my engine crossover, or my engine crossover mount. So it's basically So this whole engine and transmission, from a couple of videos you could tell, can be lowered out from the bottom and then slid out. So how it is, it's a quarter inch square, and then I braced it up here to here. It mounts to that, and then this, once it slides up on, it actually is ran through with 4 bolts and the quarter inch plate into the frame. See? And there it is. And this right here would have been just a crossover pipe, and then right here would have been the original transmission mount if the engine was still up there. So what I will say is that the toughest thing about this, using the 2004 Silverado frame, is this kick up right here. So I got a good place to lift it up here in the front, but I've only got a little bit right here, so I always have to actually lift this up by the perch spring in the back. And being so low, I have to put all the extensions in order to get it. So that's what I mean by it. Sometimes it's a bear to put it on and off the lift, because I gotta pull all these out, slide the arm under, make sure that's right. I gotta kind of jostle the truck back and forth. The front is no problem, but it's always the rear to lift it up. Okay, so we're back on the ground. So the S10 radiator hose is what this would normally come up and down to go into the radiator. I actually had to turn it sideways, and then I had to put in barbed ends in there in order for it to all go together, flow together. And then this is a sleeve, so it just kind of sets in there. And then this is another muffler clamp with the rubber insulator, which is attached to the alternator bracket. And this is a 1-wire alternator. I had it done at the local alternator shop, right? And then as all you guys know already, that I do have the sniper unit on there. I did upgrade to the billet aluminum spacer plate so I could put the sniper unit on 2-barrel. So a little bit about the engine. The engine is a 4.3 Vortec, but it's out of a 98 Blazer. So the 98 Blazer has that spider injection stuff, so I knew I wouldn't be able to do the whole carburetor situation with that. So what I had to do was the heads and the intake manifold are off from a 94 Vortec V6. So I had the heads redone, new valve seats, decked, make sure they were flat, all new head gaskets and all that stuff, and intake gasket. So the bottom end is 98 Blazer with 68,000 miles on it. Sorry about the noise. The heads and intake are off from a 94, but the heads have been redone. So they actually went to the machine shop and they were all done. I'll put in a picture of that here. So of course it's got the HEI distributor now, the coil's off, because there's usually like a little coil that would normally go here, and then but it's got the HEI distributor for V6. So yep, and it is a 700 R4, and as you saw from other videos, I've had that rebuilt twice. First time was shady, I guess you could say, and it's sad because the guy that built that, he built another transmission for me for my blue truck. It was perfect. So maybe he just had a bad day. I ain't mad about it. It is what it is. So I had that redone by a local shop, transmission shop next to me. So that's all brand new, of course. Optima battery, and I do have that battery tinder on it now, or a maintainer, which the sniper loves that. Okay. So all the actuators are just eBay or Amazon actuators. These ones are ran by a switch for the hood, that's up underneath the dash. So you reach your hand up underneath the dash, and there's a switch to lower and open up the hood. The bed, I still have it on the remote, wireless to open and close. But the problem is with that is that it seems to overload the actual controller. So it kind of goes, burr, so it blew out one of them. So I will be putting this on a switch that goes up underneath the dash, and it'll be right next to the hood switch. So that'll be controllable manually, basically, with a switch, right? But I did add this is one thing I didn't want to do. I didn't want to put I didn't want to do this. I wanted the bed to be flat, but with so many problems with linear actuator, and like I said, if I'm at a gas station and then it decides not to open, I'm kind of screwed when it comes to putting gas in. So this is just off of a Jeep, like CJ5 or something. But yeah, like I said, this was already in another video, but it's right there. I can open it up. I've already put gas in it, so that works great right there. Yeah, I think that's about it. Nothing else too crazy about it. We'll go back to the throttle cable. You saw the upper part that goes up underneath with the low car cable inside. So that's what I did. I just put the end from the low car on for the throttle body, and then this is the 700R4 TV cable, and that is also a low car unit with a low car bracket, and that of course goes down. Okay, so I showed you guys some of those things, little things. Then I'm going to show you some things that I'm not happy about, but it is what it is, I guess, with a older vehicle. So as you guys saw in quite a few of my videos, this passenger side door. So it shuts. It's got a seal all the way around it. But the problem is, and the body line matches up pretty good right here, considering. But as you go around here, that's the gap. All right along. And then it gets a little bigger down there. Right now the seal keeps falling off because of that 3M weather stripping glue. Doesn't seem to want to keep it in place. So I have to reattach that bottom part. So this right here, this door is my eyesore. Yep. So out of the whole truck, that's the only thing that annoys me right there. I mean, at the driver's side door, it sticks out maybe a 1/16 of an inch, but the body line is perfect. That door shuts good. When you do open it, it does drop a little, but that's because of this bottom hinge right here. I've rebuilt it, but it just has a little bit, and it's really because how these hinges are I'll show you here. So the hinge on the COEs, you have the upper one. I still have to put the bolt in it, but you have the upper one, and then the bottom one, it's actually the main hinge itself on the inside is still there. This is just a plate that goes over it just to cover it. But this part right here used to come out, and then it attached with 2 bolts right into the frame of the door panel. Or not door panel. Into like a kick panel rocker situation here. So this whole section right here, including the bottom of this hinge, was missing. So they don't reproduce hinges at all. I guess if it bothered me that much, I could weld a piece of 1/4-inch plate right here and then bring it down to here and then run some bolts down through, because they did have cage nuts on the bottom. But both sides, drivers and passengers, this was totally gone. So when I got the truck, when you shut the door, see right there, it's like it's just a little low, but then it goes right up and it shuts. But the doors on both sides were actually barely hanging on by the upper hinge. So the lower hinge, the little pin inside was broke. This whole part right here was actually like laying across here. So, you know, overall, I'm okay with the driver's door for sure. Passenger side door, I'm still not happy about that. But I've had that door on and off so many times that that's the best that I could get it without having to heat up hinges and those big plates that come in. Here. See, and this one is actually tight, like it doesn't droop much, but this one was the same way. This whole area right here was gone. And this whole part here was gone. So, yeah. And this whole part here was all rusted away. That wasn't attached at all. It was just kind of flopping in the breeze. So yeah. So that's my biggest concern, or not concern, but my biggest gripe on this whole truck is this door. It doesn't fly open or anything like that. It's got a positive seal all the way around. Just I think that lower hinge on that side is bent. So I'll stop ranting about that door. And then the last thing that I'm not too happy about is the vent. So you know, up here on the cowl, there's a lever on the inside. You push it and the vent opens up, and basically it's for more airflow. I wanted to leave it on this truck. I like it. I like the whole idea of it, even though the truck's got AC, you know. So I did put a new seal in it, and it opened and shut no problem, and it's sealed. But once I changed to the S10 pedal assembly to match the brake booster and all that stuff, because I wanted it all like factory, all one piece. We know from the videos that I was having problems with the brakes locking up and stuff like that. So proportionate valve, all the S10 stuff, so it all matches, but that bracket that the S10 pedal attaches to, it causes the handle that you would push on the inside to not open all the way because it hits it. So, and unfortunately there's no way that I can kind of like cut it out so the handle will work to open and close. I mean, it opens about this far. That's about it now, instead of like this, like it's supposed to. Because right where it needs to have the swing is right where the actual inside carrier bolts. So it's kind of like, it's kind of in the way. So I can't cut it, trim it, open it up, because if I did, then the pedal would be useless. So yeah, that's about it. We are already way into the afternoon. My parts are not here for anything. So I think on the next video, we'll work on installation of the one-piece headliner, ABS headliner. That should really have its own video anyway, so people can search, you know, 54 one-piece ABS headliner, because like I said earlier, they don't have a video out there at all for it, at least not that I can find. So we'll make it just as its own single video to make it easier for people to find it if that's all they're looking for. So that's going to wrap it up for this weekend of awesome stuff to do. Yeah, so go out there and definitely go out and build something cool, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye. Well, just when you thought the video was over, little excerpt. The headliner came in, the one-piece ABS headliner from Classic. It came in a box. So let's open it up and see how it looks. That's interesting. Whoa. I honestly thought it was going to be in a big box, but So I'm going to set this out. But that'll be next week's video. We'll be putting this in. Just wanted to share that it did come in. Again, go out and build something cool. Catch you next time. Thanks. Bye.